Hello, welcome to He's Hot but Something Is Off with me, just Joey T. I am frantically trying to pack before my flight leaves. It's only Monday. It's Monday afternoon in Los Angeles as I'm recording this. My flight takes off. I've taken 3 flights. We may or may not get into that. It's complicated. But I leave for the airport Wednesday morning. And you would think, okay, you've got the rest of Monday today. You got all of Tuesday to pack. And I'm right now, what would I say? I would say I'm like 60%. I'm a little over halfway packed, but it takes me so long to pack, which will bring me onto some travel cruise related packing tips shortly. But yeah, it just, I take so much time to pack. I don't know why, I can't really be that bothered. So I think, first of all, I'm a kind of OCD person. I can hurry it up, but I really need to it takes a decent amount of mental focus and energy and constantly reminding myself to hurry the fuck up to really to pack like a normal person. So that's why I'm very particular about little things sometimes. Packing is one of those areas where that rears its ugly head. The other thing is I very rarely check my luggage when I fly. I always just want to carry things on. I just want to step out the plane and go to wherever I want to be going and get out of the airport. And to do that, I need to minimize how much space all my belongings take, and also just minimize the number of belongings I take with me. So you have to pack a little more creatively if you are traveling small. You're only traveling with your carry-on. If you're only going somewhere for like a weekend, just a carry-on as NBD. I'm going for 2 weeks. So it's a little bit harder. I'm also be doing a ton of filming. So I have to pack all my AV gear, all the camera gear and stuff like that. Makes it a little bit harder. But actually now when I'm packing for a 3-day trip versus like a 2-week trip, it's not hugely different. It's just quantity of things are a little different. If I'm doing a lot of filming like with this trip, yes, I have to bring more camera equipment, but I only have 3 cameras. So I bring them or I don't bring them. Yeah, but toiletries, for example, is one area where, you're doing just a carry-on bags. You can only bring so much liquids. There's limitations how many bottles of things and how the quantity and fill and that kind of stuff that you can bring onto a carry-on luggage within the cabin. So I have little bottles that I need to fill up every time. So instead of, I think a normal person would just bring regular sized bottles of body wash or hair gel or toothpaste into the checked luggage, because you just throw it in there. There's no liquids limit there. But as I'm doing the carry-on, it has to fit in like a tiny little bag. So every liquid that I want to bring has to take up the minimum amount of space. So instead of bringing the regular tube of toothpaste that I use at home, which is like 3 or 4 ounces, I have a travel-sized toothpaste refillable container, which is like mini size, and I squeeze toothpaste into it to refill it for almost every trip. Same for face wash, moisturizer, the list goes on and on. I don't bring full size of anything because I need to bring like 12 or 15 gels or liquids for any given trip. Everything has to be filled and refilled into tiny little mini travel size liquid containers every time I pack. So that takes a bit of time. So that's why it's taking me so long. Anyways, today I thought I would talk a little bit about packing for a gay cruise, yes, but some of these tips will be applicable just for travel in general. I travel all the time, so sometimes I forget that for a lot of people, they don't travel very much. Maybe they fly, once a year or twice a year for, one vacation, or they just travel just during the holidays or just to see family, and they're not on, they don't live at the airport half their lives like I do. I feel like so many airports I step my foot in. The moment I go in through the doors, or the moment I step off the air bridge, off of the plane, I feel like, oh yeah, this is familiar. I don't even give it a second thought anymore. So some of the cruises will be cruise specific, but some of y'all are looking for gay cruise advice. So, but let's just start with this being geared towards people who don't travel very much. Maybe you're going on a gay cruise and you need to fly to wherever the cruise is departing from, and that most of the time involves taking a plane. So to keep it simple, I know most of you are within the United States, and you'll probably be taking, therefore, a domestic flight from wherever you are in the US over to wherever the cruise terminal is. For international travel, it's a little more complicated, but we just kind of keep it a little bit simple so we don't go way over your heads. But basically, the requirements for what you can bring onto a plane and what you can bring onto a cruise are a little bit different. So in the example of, okay, you're going to go on a cruise for a week. You're going to pack clothes, personal effects, toiletries, what have you, right? Some of the things you want to bring onto a cruise ship, you can't bring onto a plane, or you have to be a little bit careful how you pack it in your luggage, okay? So as an example, I was talking about liquids. That's probably one of the most common areas of restrictions. And that's also very different for a plane versus a cruise ship. So like I told you, in your carry-on luggage on a plane, the TSA here in the US, they have the 311 rule, which is containers of 3 ounces of less each, and they all have to fit into one bag that is 1 quart in size. I think that's what the 311 rule is. Either I literally just remember what the 311 rule is and explain it to you, or I made it up, but it's still correct, because those are the rules I have to pack around every single time I go to the airport, which is once or twice a month. Now, in your checked luggage, there are still some minor restrictions, but very generally for most types of liquids, gels, and aerosols that you would want to bring, there's not really like a hard limit for your checked luggage for when you hop onto a plane. There's certain types of things that the TSA doesn't want you to bring in your checked luggage. Batteries is one of them, especially batteries that can be detached from the electronics. You have sometimes electronics like a Bluetooth speaker where you can't remove the battery, right? And it's so-called installed into the device. And most airlines generally will let you have devices that have like a built-in non-removable battery in your checked luggage, as long as it's not like an extremely large battery. There's a lot of complicated rules around that. But if it's like a digital camera, for example, a lot of digital cameras have removable batteries. You're supposed to remove that battery out and put the battery in your carry-on luggage with you, and not have that removal, or what they call a spare battery, be in the checked luggage. Same thing if you have a power bank, like a battery pack that's like a USB power bank that you can charge other things with. That does not go into your checked luggage either. So we're not going to go to all the rules that TSA and all the different airlines and airports have around the world, but those are probably the 2 main classes of things most consumers want to keep in mind when you're packing for any trip: liquids and batteries. So onto a cruise ship now. On a cruise ship, they don't really care how much liquids you bring, with the exception of beverages, which is its like own class of liquids that the cruise lines, for non-safety reasons, have limits on. Whereas on a plane, they're more about the safety aspect of it. Obviously, out of like 9/11, for example, and out of like other incidents or near misses that they've had in the past, that's why there are so many heavy restrictions on liquids on board a plane within the cabin and carry-on luggage. They don't have those concerns for a ship. So in terms of toiletries and things like that, you can bring as much as you want. One of the things I do, and this is the tip that I recommend, if you do have to fly somewhere to get onto a cruise, think about things that you can buy after you fly to whichever city the cruise sets sail from, And while you're there, again, from the last podcast, I recommend you fly into that city the night before. While you have that time in that city before the cruise departs, go to a grocery store, a drugstore, some sort of convenience store, wherever it is, and just pick up the toiletries and other liquids that you might need, especially if you're, based in the US and you're taking a cruise that departs from the US. CVS, Walgreens, Target, Walmart, like they have tons of toiletries. Unless you want something like very specific that you can't get in a store easily, if you have like a specific preference for certain brands or whatever. But by and large, for basic toiletries that are widely available, shampoo, body wash, hairspray, whatever, things like that, instead of packing it into your luggage to fly with, you have to haul it to the airport. It's just extra things for you to pack, so it's like extra stress. Even if you can put it into your checked luggage, there's a chance that it might leak while it's in the luggage and it's on the plane, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's really nice where, you pack the things that are not easily, widely purchasable at the port where the ship departs from, whatever that is. And then wherever you can, just drop by a CVS, a Walgreens, Target, whatever, at the city where you're staying the night before the cruise departs. Just pick that stuff up. So stuff I pick up usually is body wash, shampoo, conditioner. A lot of cruise ships nowadays in the shower, they have this like 20-in-1 soap. It used to be that you got 2 liquid dispensers on the ships that I remember anyways. The newer ships, or they've converted them all now, and it's different. But when I first started cruising about 8 or 9 years ago, in the shower they would have liquid body wash, and then they would also have 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. And I used to see that pretty frequently. It was kind of sort of like the standard. Nowadays, it's 3-in-1 body wash and shampoo and conditioner. Body wash and shampoo are actually not that different, but to squeeze the conditioner in there, well, anyways, I find that it's not very nice. Obviously, they give you the cheapest stuff they can get away with. But anyway, so I like to have separate body wash and shampoo and conditioner, because for me, I need actual conditioner, not like the 2-in-1, 3-in-1 stuff. So just drop by CVS, Walgreens, pick up that stuff, and there's no like real limit on the type of liquids in terms of like toiletries and personal care beauty products that you can bring. So I just have like an extra little shopping bag from CVS or Walgreens that I walk onto the ship with, and it's just, whatever I buy at the CVS. Another thing I like to stock up on at the CVS are snacks. So on a cruise, they have, certain number of restaurants that are included for free. And there's also like the buffet, which is open, most of the day. So there is free food on board, no matter what cruise you go on. However, those are almost always like meals. There are some like cafes and things like that will have bite-sized cakes, sandwiches. So that's what on a cruise ship is considered a snack. What me and my friends like to do is have candy, like Skittles, sour keys, things like that. That's just things we like to have. And sometimes it's nice to have snacks. When you're chilling in your room, hanging out, you don't always want to have to like go out to a cafe or somewhere on the ship when you're kind of comfy and in your room already. And you're not going to find snacks like that. You're not going to find candy bars and, that kind of stuff on most cruises. Even if you do, it's not going to be for free. They're going to have to make you pay for it. So even if it's stuff like almonds or cashews, trail mix, anything like that, anything that you would consider candy, things like chips. If you want to have some chips, me and my friends, we just like to snack whenever we're hanging out. Sometimes we have some downtime in the cabin, so we pick up some of that as well. So there you go. Now, I did mention alcohol is one area where on cruise ships, they have restrictions. And people ask this all the time before a cruise. How much alcohol can I bring onto a cruise ship? How much wine can I bring? How much hard liquor can I bring? Water, Gatorade. People want to know like how many bottles of protein powder can I bring? So cruise lines restrict this because the more food and drinks you bring yourself, the less money they make and the less they have to sell you. If you're bringing your own bottled water for the whole week, they don't get to sell you bottled water. Okay? I'm surprised they don't have, by that logic, more of a restriction on food, because I don't think they really have a restriction on food by and large, especially if it's like packaged food, like I talked about for like Skittles and potato chips and things like that. I don't think they care at all. But if it's like wine and stuff and it's liquids, they do scan for that. So here's where you really need to find out which cruise line you're going on. And it's the cruise line that sets the rules. If it's like an Atlantis Gate cruise, it's not Atlantis that sets that rule. It's the cruise line. So what you can bring onto a Royal Caribbean cruise versus a Celebrity cruise versus a Virgin cruise, not the same. So very generally, though, they don't usually differ by like leaps and bounds, though. They don't all have the same rules. But very generally, most cruise lines will let you bring like 1 or 2 bottles of wine. That's usually okay. However, if you bring it to a restaurant, they're going to usually charge you some sort of, uncorking fee. I don't really drink wine, but I don't know. But they usually charge you a fee to open it up. Obviously, you can bring a wine bottle opener and just have it in the comfort and luxury of your room for free. And beyond that, usually they will let you bring, in terms of other types of beverages outside of wine, they'll let you bring a predetermined maximum amount. So a lot of the times they will say, oh, you can bring a dozen bottles of other types of beverage that's not wine, and each bottle can be a maximum of like, 16 or 24 ounces or whatever. So the last time I went on a cruise, I think that's like the rule they had. So 2 bottles of wine, and each bottle can only be like X number of liters or ounces or whatever. And then besides that, you could also bring X bottles, like 12 bottles of another type of beverage. It could be water, could be soda, could be protein shakes, whatever. And but it has to be, I think it has to be non-alcoholic, those bottles. So you can bring 12 bottles non-alcoholic something, but it can only be up to 12 bottles, but each bottle can only be, like 16 ounces, something like that. So I have seen people, have I done this before? I have seen people where they will stop by a supermarket and they'll bring like a tray of like, 12 or 16 or however many bottles of stuff they're allowed, of like just regular bottled water, because you can get bottled water, but you will pay for it. And a lot of people are used to bottled water. They just prefer it. So they want to have it. They don't want to have to pay the onboard prices for it. So they go to like Costco, or like they go to like a supermarket where you can get bottled water like really cheap for like, a dollar for each or something. Yeah, and they just haul it in. Obviously, you have to bring that with you, and it's an extra thing to bring. But hey, it's possible. So that's the only area where cruise lines have pretty fine restrictions on liquids. It's around drinks and alcohol that you can bring on. In terms of other things you can bring on, most other types of things, I think it's okay. People have pretty elaborate outfits that people bring on. Specific to the Atlantis parties, because there are themed parties and a lot of people go all out with their outfits. One year, we were in Fort Lauderdale or Miami, wherever Royal Caribbean has like their big cruise terminal, and it was one of the January cruises. So it's like on like the Oasis or the Allure, or like a similar sister ship, which is like the super big ones, like over 5,000 passengers. And people had their outfits, and I wasn't on yet. I was still like, I think we were lining up just outside the doors to the terminal. It was like peak hour for people checking in. And they had to, at one point, evacuate the terminal. And it turned out that someone brought a replica hand grenade, where from the outside of the grenade, this is a replica, it looks and feels very real, but it was a replica, and there was no explosives in it, right? It's a replica. But you can't bring stuff like that, not anywhere near an airport or an airplane or a cruise terminal or a cruise ship. Because when security sees that, they have no idea to know that that's not about to go off and cause a real big problem. So don't bring replicas of anything that resembles any sort of weapons or explosives or guns or anything like that, because I don't know if that person got onto the ship, but I'm pretty sure that's enough grounds for them to say you can't get on because you're not supposed to be bringing these types of items or be even attempting to bring these types of items. Doesn't matter if it's a replica anywhere near the cruise ship. So yeah, don't do that. There are types of things that you can bring that's not a replica, that's like much more clearly like a toy. And those are okay. But it's like made of plastic, like, and it's like it at least up close, it looks like a toy and it feels like a toy where it's clearly not dangerous. That's, I think, as much as you should push it. Inflatable things are another way to substitute for like a replica hand grenade, for example, as well. So yeah, that's the only other type of thing where I've seen cause problems. Really only on an Atlantis cruise, because that's the only time people bring outfits and costumes and things like that onto a cruise ship, really. Yeah. The one thing that I found that I've learned that is weird that cruise lines don't like you to bring on, and they will take it away, are extension cords. Like the type of like extension cord or power strip that you might have in the house to turn one outlet into 6. They do not like those. Apparently, a lot of those have surge suppression in it. And I think the surge suppression is what they don't like. I think that's what it is. I don't remember 100%. But you go on Amazon, though, they do sell what they call, quote unquote, cruise approved little outlet adapters, where it's not like a corded adapter, but it's something you just plug into an outlet and it turns like your one outlet into like 4 outlets. So you get to multiply the outlets, but I think they don't put the surge protection circuitry into it. That's why it's like okay to bring onto a cruise ship. But yeah, that's like a weird thing that I've seen. I've heard some friends have been able to bring it. Well, I have this one friend where they've confiscated from him multiple times before, but he keeps bringing it. But sometimes they let you and sometimes they don't. But I would just say, you've been warned. Let me put it that way. Right? Yeah, so in terms of liquids and batteries and certain outfit ideas, those are the things that, might catch you out a little bit in terms of when you are packing to travel, just to fly very generally, and also if you're going on a cruise as well. There are whole other categories of things you're not supposed to bring onto either a ship or onto a plane, but honestly, those verges more on the fringe or on the obvious. Like you can't bring like dangerous chemicals. Like some people try to bring like bleach onto a plane. Like, why are you packing bleach? It doesn't make any sense. People that, like sometimes people pack really weird things, but it's just like, why are you bringing that? And why are you not shipping it? And yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But for most people, it's just electronics, batteries, liquids, outfits that you should be concerned about. So there you go. All right. I'm going to resume my packing. One of the things I'm doing is, besides all the camera equipment, I have to make sure I take out all the batteries. I keep in my carry-on, but some of the equipment I'm going to have to put into my checked luggage just because I just got too much of it to put into my backpack. So I'm going to go resume doing that. But the rest of you have a good day not having to pack luggage, and I will see you next time. Bye.